India's pharmaceutical industry has long carried a title that few countries can claim, the pharmacy of the world. Indian manufacturers supply roughly 40% of the generic drugs used in the United States, nearly 60% of global vaccines, and about a quarter of the medicines consumed in the United Kingdom. The sector exports around $30 billion worth of medicines annually and forms a central pillar of India's economic growth strategy. Today, however, the industry appears to be entering a new phase, one marked by higher regulatory expectations and increasing operational complexity. And that's where the conversation gets really interesting. The Indian government has set a firm deadline for manufacturers to comply with updated good manufacturing practice standards under Schedule M. At the same time, regulators worldwide are intensifying scrutiny. The US FDA has announced surprise inspections for overseas manufacturers alongside stricter expectations around data integrity, validation, and traceability. So clearly, the compliance bar is rising globally. ET Pharma, along with Octave, brings you an exclusive podcast on compliance first digital transformation and why it is becoming central to the future of pharma manufacturing. To unpack this further, I'm delighted to welcome our experts today. I'm joined with Mr. Manish Dhajekar, Country Manager, Octave Attune, and Mr. Suryakant Bhavikatty, Senior Solution Consultant, Octave Reliance. Welcome to the podcast, both of you.
Thanks,
Thank
Pratibha.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you. Yeah, thanks for the time. So let me ask the first question to Mr. Manish. To face these pressures, you advocate for compliance first digital transformation for India's pharma manufacturing. What does this mean in practice? Over to you, Mr. Manish.
Thank you very much, Pratibha, for having me on this podcast. To start with, I would like to share some insights on Indian market for pharmaceutical industry, specifically pharma industry. What we see is a significant opportunity for India, most notably because the country is a huge exporter of generic drugs, and those should benefit from the upcoming patent cliff. Across the industry, drugs with current sales of $61 billion are going to lose exclusivity every year until 2030, which is double the historic level. However, taking full advantage of this historic opportunity requires constant proof that processes are controlled, validated, and traceable, and obligations in that regard are becoming heavier and stricter. But many manufacturers struggle with fragmentation. They operate a large number of specialized systems. Enterprise resource planning platforms manages their planning and finance. Manufacturing execution systems control their production workflows. Laboratory systems supports quality testing, and QMS, which is quality management systems, track deviations, audits, and corrective actions. Now, each of these systems can function effectively on its own. The difficulty is when the information must move from across the system in a way that supports regulatory traceability and operational visibility. Even organizations that consider themselves as digitally mature, they also report similar challenges. In research we recently ran with Forrester, the majority of firms reported operating with strong monitoring capabilities and extensive data collection. They still, one in two saw silos between operations, maintenance, quality, and engineering as affecting their performance. So that gap between digital capability and operational value appears most clearly in a compliance workflows.
That's a very nice narrative which has been given by Mr. Manish here. He has brought in a lot of important points. So let me go to Mr. Suryakant. That is why is that so, Mr. Suryakant? There are a lot of things which has been taken up by Mr. Manish. If you can give an extended, response to that.
Yeah, so thanks, Manish. You have articulated it very well. The main reason, Pratibha, here is that in pharmaceutical manufacturing, the equipment or machine condition and product quality are tightly linked. If a piece of equipment is miscalibrated or fails during a batch, the impact extends far beyond maintenance. The situation can affect the batch integrity, documentation, traceability, and even regulatory reporting. The problem is that many organizations still store this information in separate systems. Like maintenance records it in one application, calibration logs it in another, batch records, quality related data like NCs, complaints, or deviations, or any other category of data reports sit somewhere else. Let us take a simple example. A technician replaces a component on a critical production asset or equipment. That maintenance event is recorded in a maintenance system, but it is not automatically linked with the batch documentation or validation records in the quality system. So in this case, the audit trail would be incomplete. When auditors arrive for the audit, all the teams, departments, they must reconcile paper records, spreadsheets, and multiple systems to rebuild the evidence chain. And that is how the process will become very slow, manual, and riskier.
GMP we are talking about, and we are talking about a lot of manual processes. So recently there have been a lot of incidents related to GMP, which is linked to serious manufacturing and quality lapses. I don't want to go into a particular incident. Being in the industry, we all know that. So this
Yeah.
has raised concerns across the pharma industries. Where do you think the biggest gap lie today? Though you have mentioned few things, what has to be done, where are the lapses? If you can go in detail, Mr. Suryakant, over to you.
Yeah, that's really a important question, Pratibha, especially considering we have seen recently. If you really look at these incidents, it is not just about one mistake on the shop floor. It is about how multiple processes are executed in a disconnected way. In many organizations, teams or departments, they're doing their job, but they're still doing it in siloed way, like processes or activities, deviations, NCs, supplier issues, audits, changes, or any other issues, quality related issues. They're not truly connected. So early warning signals are either delayed or completely missed. In pharma, that gap is not just a process issue, it directly impacts patient safety. And that is why enterprise level connected quality solutions matter so much today. They bring everything together, give teams a complete picture, and help people to act early, not after something has already gone wrong.
Yeah, that's a powerful insight. You have given us a good picture in a nutshell, I would say. So, but industries, sees industry incidents like the pharma plant explosions in few states, or there is loss of life there, and it is also linked to dust explosion, raise serious concerns. So there are a lot of high risk hazards which comes in, and still goes unidentified in modern pharma operations. Manish, how do you look into it? How do we, curtail this, or what should be done for this hazards in the pharma industry?
So thank you, Pratibha, for raising this question. Actually, this is the recent incident, and I also wanted to give my insights on this. See, the reality is many hazards in pharma operation don't go unnoticed because people are unaware of them. They go unnoticed because they slowly become part of the routine. Things like dust buildup, aging extraction systems, or temporary workarounds, they often don't create immediate problems, but over the time they stop being seen as a risk and start being treated as a normal operating conditions. At the same time, safety reviews are usually done at a set of intervals, while the actual level of risk keeps changing every day with production demands, material changes, and equipment wear. Now, the another challenge is that the visibility is often fragmented. So, when we talk about operations, maintenance, EHS, and quality teams, each have part of the picture, but no one always has a complete view of the risk across the plant. There are warning signs which may already be there: small deviations, delayed maintenance, near misses. But when those signals stay disconnected, the bigger risk remains hidden. Hence, the issue usually isn't lack of knowledge or lack of regulation. It's the gradual normalization of unsafe conditions combined with siloed visibility and the constant pressure to maintain the production, and that allows serious hazards to build unnoticed until something goes wrong.
Sure. So that raises another important question. So let me bring in here Mr. Suryakant. Pharma companies have been engaged in digital transformation efforts for many years, sometimes even decades. Why aren't these efforts more proven fruitful, and why do we still have this fragmented landscape? I think you will open the secret now and you know
Yeah,
give us an idea.
yeah, you are
Yeah.
absolutely right, Pratibha. Just to put a number on that feeling,
Hmm.
in global research led by Octave, 55% of pharma leaders surveyed agree with the statement saying transformation efforts in our organization haven't yet returned the expected value. At the same time, we see three or four of this pharma executives says their company uses more tools and data sources today than a year ago. So we have more tools, but not necessarily more value, more integration, or even more practical insights. One of the reasons we see is that many digital initiatives focus heavily on dashboards and analytics. They promise visibility, but only if they are effectively integrated and based on consistent and trustworthy data. But in many organizations, the lying asset data is inconsistent. Equipment may be named differently across systems. Hierarchies may vary between sites, and maintenance records may exist in multiple databases. Without a strong master data governance, analytics becomes unreliable. That is why most successful digital transformation programs or projects have a strong focus on standardization part. For example, a single asset hierarchy. Once that foundation exists, can advanced analytics or artificial intelligence that can produce meaningful insights.
Ms. Manish. So asset management is crucial node in digital transformation when it comes to manufacturing.
See, asset management increasingly serves as an operational backbone for most of the industries, including pharma. Actually, it connects the production systems with compliance records. An EAM system or the enterprise asset management system platforms, these maintains the life cycle record of every critical piece of equipment. Maintenance history, inspection results, calibration records, and deviation events. These are captured in a single environment. And when this system integrates with ERP, enterprise resource planning softwares, or manufacturing execution systems and quality platforms, it creates a continuous digital trail linking equipment status to production and quality outcomes. There are platforms such as Octave Attune, which is enterprise asset management and enterprise asset performance management. These platforms supports this environment by structuring maintenance operations, inspection workflows, and asset reliability data in one system. There are preventive maintenance schedules, work orders, spare parts tracking, and asset condition monitoring, which are managed together in these Octave Attune or enterprise asset management platforms. And because these activities are recorded digitally, the system automatically creates a detailed audit trail with electronic signatures, workflow approvals, and change histories. Allows teams to demonstrate when equipment was serviced, who performed that particular work, and how the asset status affected the production. So, in the regulated industries, this level of traceability is essential and must.
So yeah, so now as we are talking about how technology is helping us, I mean already you mentioned how it's like the electronic signatures and it becomes easier and workflow approvals are getting easier because of technology. So how the digital transformation today without touching on artificial intelligence, we can't talk about it. Technology is helping, but when we talk about technology, we have to mention artificial intelligence. It is an attracting attention across the pharmaceutical manufacturing, and it is the day of the order. AI is into this environment. So how does it actually fit in properly, and how we are using it in pharma manufacturing? Mr. Suryakant, your views on this, please.
Yeah, Pratibha. Actually, there are major constraints when it comes using the AI in GXP environments. the auditability, the need for decisions to be ultimately made by humans, and perhaps most importantly, the need for AI to be based on reliable and validated data. Many pharmaceutical organizations continue to face challenges related to document accuracy, fragmented records, and incomplete data integration. When information remains distributed across multiple applications or undigitized documents, advanced analytics tools cannot operate effectively. Once the systems are integrated and AI is trained in terms of RCAs, corrective actions, past trouble databases frameworks like things gone wrong, things gone right, then definitely it can effectively analyze kappa data, RCAs data, maintenance records, sensor data, work schedules, or equipment histories simultaneously. This enables teams to identify patterns in asset and quality performance, and also detect early signs of product or the equipment failures.
Yeah, I would like to bring in Mr. Manish, your thoughts on AI and how is it helping us?
Yeah, so thanks to Surya, I think he has almost touched upon to all the important points from AI perspective. Still, from my side, when we see the algorithms, algorithms can monitor operational data continuously. They detect the deviations from standard procedures and highlight potential quality issues. And this reduces the manual effort required to review the large volumes of operational records. The technology can also organize documentation and make historical records easier to retrieve during the inspection or investigations or multiple audits. Pharma being the compliance industry, throughout the year there are multiple investigation, inspections, and audits are going on, and it requires multiple records. To getting it on time or retrieving it on time with correct data is important, and there the technology will help. Today we are helping most of the major manufacturers including pharma on that journey. And I will be honest with you, Pratibha, in pharma manufacturing it's not as simple as turning a switch or letting chat gpt running wild on your data, but there is a significant payoff, particularly in areas such as quality control, process monitoring, deviation management, and prediction of failures. So that's precisely the industry's most pressing challenges, and that's crucial if India wants its pharmaceutical industry to be truly world leading. To summarize the overall discussion, what we had today, compliance first digital transformation is no longer optional for India's pharma manufacturing. It's the foundation for sustainable growth and global trust. By embedding compliance into every digital initiative, we are not only meeting regulatory expectations, but also driving the efficiency and transparency. The real opportunity actually lies into moving from reactive compliance to proactive compliance, and going towards the data driven decision making.
So that's a nice way of, culminating all the pointers, Manish. You have given us a nice roundup of the discussion which we had. So, as you said, such a fascinating discussion and very topical now. Compliance first, digital transformation is need of the hour, and it needs to be, cohesively done by the pharma manufacturing, segments of the industry. So this brings us to the end of the today's discussion, and I would say many thanks to Manish and Suryakant for sharing these insights, and thanks to our listeners also for joining us. If you have enjoyed this conversation, do share it and stay tuned for more such insightful podcasts from ET Pharma. Thank you so much.